welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. The messages of inspirational stories. Donna cracked me up earlier, right before we got live. But the messages of inspirational stories is proudly brought to you today by the good guys at the 6 Minute Webinar, and that's sixminutwebinar.com.
Yep.
As you can see, this is part 5. This is the wrap up of day 5 with our guest, Rennie Gabriel. Before we get Rennie on the stage here and get him on the show, Donna, think back when we were invited to the summit over in India, and we just simply filled out the 6-minute webinar to put together a great presentation because we knew we were going to be seen all over the world. The
Right.
King of Oldham was going to be there. And that was our mission. That was our purpose. We didn't think any further than that, except maybe, they might say, hey, these people really, put on a great talk and we might want them on another show or something. That was about as far as we saw it. But there were a series of things that happened. And Donna?
It's a snowball effect.
Yeah, a big snowball effect coming down the hill. Not only does the 6-minute webinar and our TV station that we broadcast from, the E360 TV studios, not only are they involved in this 6-minute webinar summit with Vanya Kusik and the Vanya Kusik Foundation, but our little TV show, Messages of Inspirational Stories, is the host of that summit. And it's all Donna's fault.
Jim likes to blame me for everything, so I got big, broad shoulders. I can take it.
Well, that's because I hate to be the fall guy on everything.
I know. Well, we are so excited about this upcoming summit.
Mm-hmm.
We really are. This is a global summit. It's huge, and I can't even remember how many countries are involved.
Yeah, because here at E360 TV, we broadcast live all over their branded channels, which is Roku. We got about 18% of our viewers that see us on Roku. We're on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, Android TV, Twitch, Periscope, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, YouTube Live. We're even on Grandma's big screen TV. Now that broadcast all the way out to millions of devices. Now I'm not saying millions of people watch us, but it's broadcasted out to millions of devices all over the world. And then little Vanya, she's got, is it over 50 countries that we're in and 50 newspapers or whatever, or news agencies?
Over 500 news releases.
I left off a big O, didn't I?
You dropped a 0, buddy.
I tell you, her trying to keep me straight is like trying to push a chain uphill. But it just goes to show you, the moral of the story is, it's not us sit here and talking about how great, we're going to be doing some things and all that. Yes, it is great, but the entire thing that we did from the Alpha to the Omega, we wanted Vanya to look really good to her audience when we gave a presentation. That was our sole reason why we did it.
Right.
And then we helped her with her 6-minute webinar, and one thing led to another, and look where it grew to.
Right.
And our point is, Donna, you know this very well. Whenever you reach out and bless others and invest in them,
you get blessed tenfold.
You have also invested in yourself, ladies and gentlemen.
And
speaking, go ahead.
Blessed tenfold, Jim.
Oh yeah. See, we went from my 50 to her 500. That's at tenfold. But sincerely,
he does math real good.
We've got to. Oh yeah. I did real well with English too. In high school. If you believe that, see me after the show. I got a nice bridge over in San Francisco. It goes up Marin County called the Golden Gate. We're running the big sale on it this weekend. But our guest, Rennie Gabriel, is our kind of people.
Absolutely.
He's the kind of person that's got skin in the game.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we like. Sure, we could get some big people in here, big fancy names that had born with a silver spoon in their mouth and talk about how you can create wealth and this and that. Well, Rennie, he did it from nothing.
He did it the hard way.
Yes, he did. And bless his heart, I think he was in his mid 30s or something, and he was going out and picking up cans and bottles and anything he could find to sell to recycling centers to buy groceries to feed his children.
Right.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's the post side of time.
Right, it is. And that's evolved, Jim, because, he went from dead broke to a multimillionaire. Yeah. And one of the things that I find, and I emphasize, one of the things I find so endearing about Rennie is that he is a best-selling author.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's really simple, wealth on any income. But what I love most about it is 100% of the proceeds goes sheltertosoldier.org. 100%, folks. So, what an incredible way that he is giving back to those who have given the ultimate for us.
Yes. And he'll tell the story about, how 2 lives saved 1 and all that. But also, too, did you know that his book that he wrote, Wealth on Any Income, has been translated into 8 languages?
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. And when books like that, people have best-selling books and all that. And sometimes it's, might be at 2:00 in the morning, their book sold a little bit more than someone else. That gives them the title. But for you to have a book that's a bestseller, and for you to have a book that's converted into 8 foreign language, that thing's not only got some meat and potatoes in there, it's got the dessert too.
Right.
It's a full meal.
It is. And it shows how everybody across the globe is after the same thing, securing money for themselves to live on and retire from. And that's what he is genius at.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you to push the button and welcome open up the door, I should say. Well, it's a virtual stage, so we're going to push the button.
And here he is, if the button will work today.
There you go. She's got the magic touch, Rennie. She's got the magic touch. My brother, I got to salute you. So glad to have you back here on the 5th day.
We are so excited.
You have put up with me for a whole week and hadn't complained.
Yeah. With that introduction that you gave me, it's a good thing you don't have a doorway. My head would not have fit through.
All I did was tell the truth about you, brother. I did was tell the truth about you.
That's right.
Thank you, Jim. Hi, Donna.
Hey, Rennie. We are super excited that you're here today. I've got to actually go back and rewatch all the shows because there's so much information that I need to take notes on.
Yeah.
That I have to be able to, pause and write down and pause and write down. So, out there, folks, you can go back and watch these. We download them to our YouTube channel, which is Messages of Inspirational Stories.
TV show.
Thank you. I knew I was missing something.
Yeah.
It's
a mouthful.
I'm so excited that my mouth and brain aren't in the same groove. So, and I'm super excited today because as we talked about yesterday at the end of the show, you're going to be helping teach folks out there how to start investing in themselves for as little as $25 or less.
Yes, that's correct. And one of the things I think, because this is the last day, it'd probably be a good idea to review what we covered Monday through Thursday.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to do that, kind of quickly. Okay. And hey, if I talk fast and you can listen fast, we'll be all set. So
what do you say?
Yeah, perfect, Jim.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
On the first day, we talked about where you learned how to handle money, whether it was from your parents or school. And we found out 9 out of 10 people didn't get it in either place. We did a little word association exercise about money. We talked about poverty versus prosperity thinking. And I brought up the concept of the 3 secrets of the wealthy. I've got the acronym AFI, which stands for attitude, forms, and investments. And the attitude is the most important, because if you don't have the right attitude, I can give you the best forms and show you the best investments, and it won't mean anything because you'd be afraid to take action on it. On the second day, we spoke about the big picture versus the details, and how wealthy people look at the big picture first and the details second. If a house they're thinking about buying for investment has peeling paint or dripping faucets or fraying carpet, that's irrelevant if it's got good bones and it's in a good neighborhood and it's priced right.
Right.
And Jim, you spoke about your friend who rehabs cars. What's the right term for that?
Restoration.
Thank you. Restores cars. And he looks at what that car would look like when it's restored. And his employees are looking at it and saying, oh, there's some rust here, and maybe it's got a broken lug nut. And those are the details.
Right.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
And he's looking at the big picture first, and that's where the profits come from. And we spoke about where most people operate from, and they think thoughts are powerful, and they are not. Our feelings are so much more powerful, and they can override the thoughts that might be good to help us move forward. So the thing we have to do is rely on our values. We have to identify our values so we can use them to overcome the feelings that might stop us from going forward and producing the results that are going to enhance our lives. We spoke about paradigms, from the standpoint that people may have said things about what they think you can do or what they think you're capable of, and they're not even experts.
That's right.
And we spoke about experts who said things in their field of expertise and they were completely wrong. One of the best examples is Edison, who made a fortune from his investments, who invented the phonograph and said it had no commercial value. I mean, the phonograph was a commercial success for 60, 80, 100 years, a long time.
Right.
Then I asked you to write your personal 5-year financial goal. And that's just the first 2 days.
Yeah.
On the third day, we started with the forms. Let me have you share the screen, or give me the whole screen. Let me take over.
All right.
And I'm going to share those forms I wasn't able to share.
Donna and I, we're going to go out back and take a smoke break.
Yeah.
Oops, excuse me.
So Jim and Donna can hear me, and so I'll call them back when we're done. But I spoke about this first form, which is a debt elimination form. And some people, there's a snowball technique. The point is, you've got a bunch of columns here. Let's do this a little bit more effectively. You've got your columns with who the creditor is and how much you owe them and what the interest rate is and what your minimum payment is and how much you're going to pay them in total. And you start with the lowest balance first. It doesn't matter what the interest rate is. You start with the lowest balance first. Then we spoke about what I just dropped, which is the balance sheet. And wealthy people look at the balance sheet a little bit differently. Like your accountant will show you, this is where you list your car, but a wealthy person doesn't care about the car. The car is not something that's going to produce passive income. It's not an investable asset. It's not like money in the bank. It's not like stocks. It's not like your retirement plan. And it's also, your retirement plan, the money in the bank, those are the investable assets. As an example, your house is not an investable asset. It's not going to generate an income. It's going to suck up money with property taxes and insurance and maintenance and repairs. So unless you're using it for Airbnb, your house doesn't produce an income. The next form we spoke about is the income and expense form. where is your money coming from? And you can see there are lots of places where your money can come from. You're not limited to just a paycheck. And then on this side, you see items with stars. Those are the things that show up maybe once a year, but they don't show up monthly, but they have to be figured in. So you're setting aside enough money to cover when things don't go right, like when the water heater busts or the car breaks down. Then we spoke about the fact that you may forget where you spend money. So there's a spending plan memory jogger, which is all the different places legally you could be spending your money. And if you request these forms, you can do that by writing to Rennie at wealthonanyincome.com, and I'll send you those forms. You print them up on your own, you fill them out, and if you find out that I've left something off that reminder, that cash flow memory jogger, if you think I've left something off there, let me know and I'll add it. Okay, so I've gone through the forms that I wasn't able to show on the third day. So Jim, let's get back to where we were with the review. Thank you, Jim.
Oh, you're quite welcome. We really enjoyed that and we really appreciate that. And again, folks, all of the shows, including today's show, it'll be uploaded tonight, but they're on our YouTube channel and you can find it at Messages of Inspirational Stories TV show. And you can download the show there. Most importantly, we don't have that many subscribers because we don't really advertise the YouTube channel, but please like it. But most importantly, share, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays, part 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is part 5 today. Please share that with others, especially someone that's got more month than they got money, because those are the people who are really struggling, aren't they, Donna?
Right. And, if I can put my 2 cents in on that, share it with your high school and junior high children. Because the earlier you start them off, folks, the better off they're going to be, the better off they're going to see. When we're in our teenage years, let's face it, our brains don't work very well. I mean, it just isn't there. Okay. There's too much going on in the body. Right. So, but if we can teach and reach out to our children who at a younger age and help them identify their spending habits, what they could save, what they have spent, then they're going to be so much better off in the future than we are. And that's what we all want for our children. Yeah.
It'll save them decades of work and worry and frustration and everything like that. Because when everybody knows when kids go to school or to universities and colleges, they run up a huge student loan bill. Yep. And there's not one course there to teach them how to pay off that student loan. Nope. There's not even a course there to teach them how to balance a checkbook. Are you snickering at me again when I'm over here preaching from the bottom of my heart?
not me.
I know
we're laughing because of how true it is. Everybody's expected to know how to handle money, and you're going to get it through osmosis.
Yeah. Right. Well, after I got married, my wife after about 1 week, with me, she says, I'll take care of the money. Okay.
But you know what? I mean, granted, I don't care for budgeting. And I talk about the spending register, spend money in alignment with the goals that you want to achieve, determine how much you want to spend in various categories instead of budgeting. It's just, it may be semantics, but semantics are important. And the point I wanted to make about this deals with not being taught how to handle money. Yeah. And you're not going to get it through osmosis. It's like if either of you had not been taught how to swim and I threw you in the deep end of a swimming pool and then said, swim, would that help you?
No,
absolutely not.
Exactly. But that's what you'll hear from your CPA. Maybe he says, oh, you should budget. How? What does that mean? What does it look like? Where are the forms to help me do that?
Yeah. Right. Well, and it's such an injustice we're doing to our children. There's just no other word for it. It's an injustice we are doing to our children by not helping them understand what is coming down the pike and what's at stake. You know, I get so excited when I read about some of my children's friends. My daughter just recently bought a house. She's, 26. You know, that is an amazing accomplishment.
Yes, it is.
26, right? And
Absolutely.
so when I hear of a young person who's, 20, 21, somewhere in there on up into their, early 20s, and they buy a house, I'm like, yes, that is just amazing, because they're not throwing that money away down the rent hole.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. And I got to tell you, I love my renters.
Right.
Because they're buying the real estate for me. I take good care of them. I mean, today I was with someone and we replaced a tenant's toilet and garbage disposal because both of them weren't working the way they needed to. And she hasn't even moved in yet.
Exactly.
So, I take care of them. And I think on some other episode, Jim, I was talking about this, that 100% of my tenants, except for one, have paid 100% of their rent through the entire pandemic.
Right.
And I hardly know anyone who's got rental real estate that can make that claim.
Yeah. And there's one thing that Rennie does for his tenants.
Oh, yeah.
And that is, hold up that book. I'm sure you got one or two there laying around.
Yeah,
you got them all. Okay. Wealth on any income. Imagine him as a landlord giving that book to each tenant.
Every one of them.
To help them change their lives.
And I love that. And that goes back to your generosity and your spirit of reaching out and helping other people. When I posted this show today, Rennie, I had one of the captions I had put was Rennie Gabriel was dead broke. Now he's a multimillionaire. And so, you don't have to do this. I mean, you don't have to work another day in your life.
No.
But what I so appreciate and love about you is the way you give back. You don't want to see other people suffer through the garbage and the crap of life that you had to go through to have a decent life. And we are all here on earth to have a decent life.
Yeah,
and he's giving you the tools right now to do so.
Yeah. I mean, like Jim was saying, when I'm broke and I'm collecting soda bottles and cans to get the refund money for food for my family, I know what it's like to be broke. I know how painful that was, how embarrassing it was.
Right.
We can go one step farther and say, I was certified as a financial planner. But without the foundations of handling money effectively, you can't build any kind of wealth that's going to be sustaining.
Right.
Yeah.
And
that's
so
exactly right.
That's what I've been working on and showing other people so they can avoid the kind of pain that I went through. And it's just sad that it's not taught everywhere that it could be taught. Let's see, yesterday we spoke about some investments. So, before we get to that, I realized one of the most important things, one of the most foundational things that we did talk about is treating yourself like you matter. Paying yourself first.
Yes.
Not before the mortgage payment, before the grocery bill, before the car payment, before the credit cards, any of that. You set aside money, 10% at least, that you're going to keep for the rest of your life, and you're going to use that to invest. And we're going to talk about how to do that, even if you've only got $25, $50. And another 10% does need to be set aside to be spent later when the car breaks down.
Right.
When the kids need back to school clothes, when the water heater bursts.
For the life happens moments.
There you go.
Exactly. The life happens moments. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I remember reading a book, it was called The Wealthy Barber, and he made a comment in there. And when I thought about it, I realized it is true that if you're setting aside 10% for your future and you're young enough, you're setting aside 10% for things that'll go wrong that you're going to spend later, you could squander the other 80% and it's still going to work out. I think if you're young enough, like you're in your 20s.
Yeah.
But by the time you get to your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, the percentages have to change a little bit.
Yeah. Come on up another decade. Didn't you be right?
I didn't want to embarrass myself.
I'm talking about me. I'm older than you. You're younger. You're better
by a
looking.
month?
All that.
Was it a month you're older than me?
I don't have my watch.
Yeah. Okay. Mine's July. Mine's coming up in about 11 days.
Wow.
So when was yours?
The 6th?
The 6th of July of all. Wait a second. That makes me older than you, Jim.
Well, how'd you wind up younger looking? I mean, that's the mystery I want the answer to right here, right now. We ain't going no further. I don't hear about it. And I ain't got no $25 to invest until Donna loans me $25. Okay.
Well, I'd tell you, Jim, but I don't know where to find the milkman.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. But let's get into that $25, how to get going in that. My goodness.
Right. Because that is so sustainable for most people.
Yeah, exactly. There are platforms like Robinhood and others where you don't even have to buy a whole share of stock. Let's say you wanted to buy a share of, I don't know, El Pollo. No, not El Pollo. Let's see. Whatever. Let's say a share of stock and it's $100 and you don't have $100. You can go onto Robinhood and buy $25 worth of that stock.
Is that Robinhood.com?
Yes, it is. And so there are platforms like that. If you can afford to buy a whole share, I mean, there's stocks that sell for $15, $20, $30 a share. You can go to TD Ameritrade. And for, I think it used to be like 60 cents to buy a share of stock, but I think it's free now. And you go and you buy a whole share of stock. And what I did when I was 50 and starting out, I was buying individual shares of stock. I chose 8 companies from the Dow Jones Industrial 30 because I figured they're going to be around for a long time. And I would take my $500 and I'd buy 1 share of this company and 1 share of this company. And in essence, created my own mutual fund.
Yeah.
And then 3 years later, when I had the opportunity to buy a little 3-unit building with my wife and this realtor, I traded in all the stock, sold it off, redeemed it, whatever you want to call it, and took that $18,000 and put it all into the real estate. So talk about taking a risk. I gave up what I saved up for 3 years, the most money I had most of my life, and put it in this piece of real estate. But that turned into $125,000 5 years later. Another attitude of the wealthy. I borrowed money to make down payments on more apartment buildings with my wife and this realtor. And in the 5 years, we went from that 3-unit purchase to 50 units we owned and managed. Wow. So paying myself. Something else I talked about yesterday, and it's so important. I want to repeat it. If I would have taken that $18,000 and paid off the credit card debt I had, I would have not had the money to make the down payment on the real estate. I wouldn't have had a multi-million-dollar net worth 5 years later. I'd have just had no credit card debt.
That's why we say, these people that's born with a silver spoon in their mouth, and they're saying the reason why you're broke, so you got credit card debt, you need to pay off that credit card debt. Okay, fine. But, once you do that, you're back down to, you're still broke.
You're still broke. And then the car's going to break down. You put it on the credit card again.
Yeah,
it's just a roller coaster. It's horrible.
Yeah.
So, I got to tell you, I had credit card debt and I had paid it off and it came back and I'd paid it off multiple times before I was 50. And when I looked around and saw what wealthy people were doing, that ain't what they were doing.
Right.
I just modeled what worked that wealthy people were doing. And the results speak for themselves. So that,
and I liked what you said yesterday. Pardon me for interrupting. You pay off the smallest amount of the owed on a credit card first.
Yes.
Regardless of the interest.
Right. And you know why? How does it feel when you pay off a credit card?
Great.
It feels amazing.
Exactly.
It does.
And that good feeling keeps you going.
Yeah.
And so some of the investments we spoke about when we spoke about real estate was there's a whole lot more than single family houses or apartment buildings.
Oh, yeah. I remember that because we took a test. He wanted us to name 3 each.
Yeah,
Don
we
and I
didn't do too well.
we only named 5, and there was like 500 again. and that was a good day for me, not Donna, but that was a real good day for me.
Yeah, because besides those 2, there's board and care facilities, assisted living, self-storage, you do fix and flip, hotels, motels, trailer hotels, raw land, trust deeds, triple net leases, land leases, REITs, real estate investment trust. You could do Airbnb, mobile homes, vacation. I mean, the list.
You have an RV park.
I mean, would you say something about a theme park?
RV park.
Oh, RV park. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So there are so many areas of real estate where people can invest in, and so many ways of doing it.
And you stop and think about it. You know, some people would say, I may not care for an Airbnb or a hotel, but I would enjoy an RV park because I get out there and visit with the people and, cut the grass and do whatever. And, have people pay you to stay at your place to talk to you.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And wouldn't it be fun to drive to an RV park that you own?
Yeah. You better believe it. Yeah. I can park anywhere.
Exactly. You get the best parking spot, and all the other folks are paying you.
I know it. And you walk around and talk to them, they're paying you to talk to them. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's better than being a speaker in
it. And as we talk about this, it occurs to me that the one thing people don't know where to start. Right. And so they tend to become an ostrich, if you will, and put their head in the sand. And that's fear-based, folks. That is fear-based. Do not let fear stop you. Let it empower you, and take the information that Rennie is giving you and go with it and change your future.
Amen to that, because Donna, like I said yesterday or on a previous show, I forget which, but a lot of times you get pressured by some of these fast talkers. It's not going to last. You got to do this today. Yada da da da. I had a guy trying to, have me finance even everything I own, including all the chickens I had or didn't have. And he wanted me to invest in an oil well. And I says, I don't know anything about that business. Oh, it's great. It's going to make you rich. And I said, well, if it's so wonderful, why are you wasting your time on the phone talking to a guy like me? I'd be out there hustling money from everybody. Look at me twice,
Yeah. And, if it's such a good deal, why isn't all his money in it?
Right. And a good deal today is a good deal tomorrow. And always go with your gut. Notice how I've learned how to bypass this brain of mine because it don't work too well.
No, your intuition speaks so much louder than our brain, because we're so up into the physical right now world here, but our gut is the one that protects us, the one that that feeling that comes through that goes, ooh, I don't think I like this too much. And you know what? You're not going to be wrong with that. I mean, honestly, like 99.9% of the time, you're going to be okay if you go with your gut feeling.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, it is so much better to let the gut override the intellect because it is the most accurate. And, what you're talking about, Jim, is, avoiding investment frauds and scams. If they're trying to hustle you into something, it may not be anything like the value that they're trying to convince you it has.
Exactly.
And like you said, if it's a good deal today, it'll be a good deal tomorrow. And if it ain't available tomorrow, there'll be something else that is. It
was not the right deal for you.
Yeah.
If it's not available tomorrow, it was not the right deal for you today.
And somebody who just calls you up random on the phone is nothing but a dang, a dadgum scammer. So, hang up quick, because a true investment professional will never just call a stranger out of the phone and say, boy, have I got a deal for you.
The guy that does that, he's got one of two choices: either try to sell you something or have to go out and have somebody pay him to wash trash cans.
Yeah. There was a fun movie called Boiler Room years ago that showed how that works. And if you look at The Wolf of Wall Street, same thing, hustling people for money and giving them garbage.
Right.
So let's avoid those folks. And we also talked about the tax advantages of qualified retirement plans, whether it's a 401k plan you have at work, or a profit sharing plan, or tax deferred annuities, or an IRA, or even a Roth. Those are things that will enhance your money because you get to defer paying the taxes on the growth. So those are some of the things that we spoke about. And I'm trying to figure out, and we covered buying stock for as little as $25. You go to TD Ameritrade, you go online, you look at discount brokers, you buy portions of a share of stock. All of those things that didn't even exist 15 years ago.
Now, is that discountbrokers.com, Rennie?
No, you would type into Google, who are discount brokers?
Okay.
And then you'll have a list of them. TD Ameritrade is one of them. Schwab is one of them. E-Trade, I think they're still around, is another one.
Yeah.
And, because I've got a portfolio manager at this point. We do our clearing through TD Ameritrade, which has just been purchased by Schwab. So, the industry is going through some consolidation. And I don't stay on top of it because I hire someone else to do that.
Right.
There you go. Let me ask you a question, and we've probably covered everything in it, but when someone gets your book, Wealth on Any Income, I love the fact that 2 lives are saved. I want you to talk about that, but also too, when someone reads your book, you've covered everything in the book on the 5-day show, but I'm sure there's some more stuff in there. But most importantly, number one, where they get the book, and number 2, when you have that book, you can go back to it over and over and over, because on Monday, with our new homeschooling week coming up, we got Howard Berg to be here on Monday, the world's fastest reader. And he can even write over 100 words a minute. We're not talking about shorthand. Goodness. And he's old. I shouldn't say that. But Howard maybe watches. I'm going to get you for that, Jim. But he is the world's fastest reader. He is recorded in the Guinness Book of Records. My point being, taking Rennie's information from his book and learning how to speed read, it's going to enhance everything that you want to do. So first of all, when someone buys your book, tell them about where the profits go, about that wonderful organization, and also what's in the book. I'll just put it like that.
Perfect. Yeah. And before I answer that question, I realized there was something I wanted to comment on that Donna said when she was talking about the thing that prevents people from moving forward, and it being fear, which is why I say wealth creation is a team sport, not a solo sport.
Yeah.
And I made that mistake a couple of times in my youth, trying to do this stuff by myself. And I didn't become wealthy until I created a team and stopped trying to do it by myself.
Right.
And so that's really important, because if someone has fear, but they've got someone else they can talk to, then they can continue to move forward. Okay. So what's the stuff in the book? The book covers the 3 secrets of the wealthy in 12 steps. And the first third of the book deals with that fear. It deals with the faulty thinking we might have. It deals with the myths and the belief systems that don't support us. And we get that out of the way first. Then we get to the tips, the techniques, how to look at the forms, how to fill out the forms, and all that kind of stuff that's really practical. And you're right. The reason I wrote the book in the first place, which was the wrong reason, was I was doing Learning Annex workshops for about 10 years. I'm teaching people this material in a 3-hour workshop. I'm answering the same questions month in, month out, over and over again. And I'm saying, you know what? I'm going to put everything I know, everything I can tell someone in a book, and then they'll leave me alone and they won't ask me this stuff anymore.
How'd that work out for you?
The opposite. I didn't realize it. But when you become the author of a book, more people want to work with you. I mean, it shows you how little I really knew. Okay? I'm going to put everything I know in this book, and then people will leave me alone.
Rennie, it was your dynamic charm, your personal banality, and your good looks. That's why they wanted to talk to you, brother.
So anyway, so that's what's in the book. And now what do I do with the profits? Actually, it's the proceeds, the whole cover price. Whatever I get from the book, 100% of it is donated to the charity Shelter to Soldier, where dogs are rescued from environments where they could be euthanized. And these dogs are trained as service animals for soldiers who've come back with PTSD or traumatic brain injuries. And our veterans who allow us to maintain our lives the way we do in this country are committing suicide at the rate of 22 a day, or almost 1 an hour. But not one who's received their service dog has committed suicide. So this charity is saving 2 lives at a time. And so I'm just so honored to be able to donate all the profits from my coaching, my books, my programs to that charity.
And I put that up in our comments so that people know that what your book is, and that 100% of the profits go to sheltertosoldier.org.
Yeah. Thank you. And if they go to the wealthonanyincome.com website and they put /TEDx, they'll get to see the TEDx talk where I talk about how we've all been conditioned to be poor from movies, from the scripture, from books, from fairy tales, from TV shows. And the cure being a 9-step roadmap to complete financial choice. And they'll get that if they just go to the website and put /TEDx. And there's donate buttons for Shelter to Soldier all over the website as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I tell you, it's a wonderful thing. We had Dustin Potash of the Shelter to Soldier program on our radio show a couple of weeks ago. And our radio show is Your Future Is Now on the TogiNet radio station. And I tell you right now, it was an amazing story. That hour is just like all the hours, the time we spent with you here this week. It just flies by. I mean, right now we've only got about 15 minutes left, and I'm going like, I hadn't had a chance to say anything yet. Yeah. I mean, it's just amazing. It's a wonderful organization, and think about how 2 lives can save 1. And the thing I love about it, this TV show, this is why we do what we do here.
It absolutely is.
Yeah, because we broadcast all over the world. There's going to be someone out there that says, hey, we could do that with people that have traumatic brain injuries who are not soldiers. We could do that with autistic children. And you got a great story on that. Donna, you shared with me about a young, I think his little boy he was autistic.
Very autistic.
Got it done.
Very autistic.
Very quickly share that with the audience, if you
Absolutely.
would, please.
I was doing some housework and had the TV on, and so I was listening. I wasn't watching. And it was talking about this little boy who was severely autistic. So, of course, there's a detachment issue, right? They don't show a lot of emotion. They don't talk. They got him a service dog. And he opened up and started blooming. I'm probably going to get tears in my eyes because I'm such a mom. But this little boy started talking. He started hugging his parents. He started being part of the family. This dog even showed him how to face his fears and get into water. Save their marriage, save that little boy. And oh my gosh, look at the joy everybody is receiving. Everybody. And it's a ripple effect. And that's what Shelter to Soldier does. And that's what you do with your book. So thank you so much, Rennie.
Oh, thank you, Donna. Yeah, I mean, I know the stories, and Dustin may have shared this, but the difficulty in functioning in society when you're suffering from PTSD, unable to keep a job, and having poor performance reviews. And Vic, who had received his dog, came back with traumatic brain injury, stuttered so badly he couldn't even communicate with his own family. He wouldn't leave the house. His little girls would go to soccer practice or whatever, and he'd just have to stay home because he was unwilling to even go out of the house. After he got his dog, he's able to go to the grocery store with his wife, go to the children's soccer games, even go into a department store. But you know what? If he starts to melt down, the dog recognizes it and removes him from the environment.
Right.
It's an amazing process.
It really is, because, dogs have an ability of, sensing what's going on inside of you.
Oh, yeah.
And I tell you right now, dogs are great psychologists, because they can look at me and say, this guy's no challenge. He's just a pushover.
But I believe, all dogs have that innate ability as a rule. But these dogs are just trained more to bring out what is really natural for him. Because my dog in Ohio would come to me when I was getting ready to have a seizure.
Yeah.
And he's not trained. He's not a trained service dog. But let me tell you what, if you don't think that dog is my service dog and is not my emotional support, think again, because I promise you he is.
Yeah.
Yes. As a matter of fact, they've even trained dogs to smell a person who has cancer before it can be detected in tests.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, if dogs can be trained to do that, you can be trained to, pay yourself first and get Rennie's book, wealthonanyincome.com. It's going to go to it's a win-win situation there. You're going to be able to learn how to read and study how to create wealth, and you're also going to contribute to 2 lives being saved. That's a win-win situation.
And you're going to be able to pass it on to the next generation, the most important thing in your life, your children, and let them from a young age understand the true mechanics of what they're doing and what they're spending it on, and the difference between a want and a need. Because that's in our society where we get screwed up sideways. Oh, I need that. No, you don't. You want it. There is a big dadgum difference. So, does that want outweigh your future?
And unfortunately, you've got Madison Avenue telling you what you need and what you should have, and how if you buy this car or this beer or use this toothpaste, how you'll have models fawning over you.
Right. And you look better. You feel better. I know my boyfriend tells me, he says, you just don't have much of an impulse buying gene. And I said, when I was young, I did. But I have just gotten to the point in my life, number one, less is more. It is all about distributing my money properly. In the most important places that it needs to be. And here's the thing. If I don't need it, why should I give it away to somebody else?
Exactly.
That's right.
And unfortunately, one of in the exercise Couples and Money, I talked about the 3 different ways we can react to how we were brought up, which is such a great influence. Like, we could either do what our parents did, or choose what our mother did, or choose what our father did, or we can rebel against what they did because maybe they were savers and that really made you unhappy. So you rebel against it. So choice 1 is to do what they did. Choice 2 is to rebel against it, do the opposite. But choice 3 is to choose freely what will work for you and what you want. And so many people don't know they can just choose something different.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
And the way you explained it today about less than $25 a month or $50, whatever, just think if someone just cuts back, because a lot of people love Starbucks.
Yeah.
And, I understand that. I respect that. But Starbucks is not for me. I just can't see paying that much for a cup of coffee.
Right.
Because I drink just plain old black coffee. I don't need
Same here.
whatever they put in those drinks. You look at it and you're like, okay, But what I'm saying is that the expense of those drinks, if you just cut back half of the trips you make to Starbucks in 1 month,
right,
you would have enough money to start investing in yourself. Because after all, who do you want to invest in?
Right.
The owners and stockholders of Starbucks or you?
Right.
I mean, Jim, you're probably talking about cutting it in half and creating $100 a month. Now, it's $100. What's $100?
Yeah,
$100 a month over 30 years, properly invested, would be about $300,000.
Bingo.
Yeah,
And
I'll take a check for that.
Yeah, so would I. And probably so
Right.
would most of your listeners.
You know, and this again goes back to the want or the need. Do you want that Starbucks drink or wherever you go, or do you need it, or can you do without it and invest in your future?
Yeah.
And you know, it's just like buying stuff on sale. You know, I am so weird when it comes to being a girl, a woman, and shopping. I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate shopping for clothes. But when I do, I guarantee you, I go to the sales. I am not paying full price if I don't have to.
There you go.
And you don't have to. And that's the funniest thing is there's so many things that are on sale, including stocks. They go on sale too. And it's so funny. When a dress goes on sale, you say, now I'm buying it. A stock goes on sale. It drops in value. And people say, oh, I'm afraid to buy it. Well, it's the best time to buy it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's the old adage, buy low and sell high. Not buy high and sell low.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. And we weren't necessarily picking on Starbucks. I was only using them as an example because a lot of people go there every day. And I mean, they're spending, I don't know how much Starbucks are for the lattes and the floppes and whatever they got there. But, just think about all that money. If they just take one of the forms that Rennie's talking about and keep track of it, and it will shock you how much money that you're spending at not only Starbucks, but other little places. And that reminds me of a funny story, if I may share it. Getting on an airplane, you're hustled in there like, cattle. This is before 911 and all that stuff. When I traveled a lot, flew a lot. You see the people pushing, the stewardesses pushing the cart up the aisle, and you get all excited. And they're going to pass out these little bitty doodads, or whatever you want to call them. And you get all excited, and you know, if you walk by those things, you wouldn't look at them twice in a convenience store. But here you are, and there you are. They got you drooling like a hound dog at a picnic. Oh boy, we're getting some doodads. My point being is that, we don't really need those doodads in the convenience store, but yet when we're on the airplane, we can't live without them. We don't need them there either, but we can't live without them. It's just amazing how our mind works.
Yeah. And one of the things that you said, Jim, that's so important is that if you just cut it back by half, you don't have to go whole hog. We're not talking about cold turkey. Just cut it back by half. You still get to enjoy it. And now you get to create wealth in addition to it.
That's a double treat. When you do go back, you can treat yourself to your Starbucks or whatever you like, but you're also treating yourself to get wealthy.
Exactly.
And then you can buy it in your older age when you retire.
Yeah, that has a nice ring in the ears and a nice ring in the gut when you talk about making yourself wealthy, huh?
Yeah.
Right.
And Donna, it's so funny. I actually, about every other month, I do go to Starbucks and I buy one of those foo-foo drinks. It's a mocha with chocolate chips in it. I'm not sure what it's called, Frappuccino or Frappalape. I don't care. I just say, I want that foo-foo drink with the chocolate chips.
There you go. Mm-hmm. But that's a treat for you.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. And and that is truly in our society, in my opinion, one of our biggest faults is that everything is supposed to be instant gratification.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now you'll feel better. Get it. You'll feel better. We have somewhere along the line lost that. I'm not even sure the words I'm looking for here, but we've lost that direction of taking care of ourselves first in a financial way to better ourselves for the future. And so with all the social media that's out there, I feel that, they do a really fine job of screwing with our headspace, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
exactly. You got the influencers on Instagram saying,
oh, yeah,
look at this dress I'm wearing. Look at these shoes I bought. Look at this jewelry I'm wearing. Look at this coffee that I'm drinking. And Madison Avenue influencers, social media, they're in it to take money out of your pocket and put it into theirs.
Into their retirement.
And for you young guys out there, see those commercials. If you drink this brand of beer, all the pretty girls will flock around you. Trust me on this. I tried that and that doesn't work. It doesn't work. I'm telling you right now. So I'm just saved you a lot of money right there. Might even save you from a DUI, But I mean, really, they make it appear to be like you're not cool unless you do this.
Right.
What's really cool is when you invest in yourself, and each and every month you're taking one step closer to creating wealth for you. Now, brother, that's cool.
Right.
That's putting the icing on the cake of life right there.
Yep.
We got about 2 minutes left. And Rennie, I want you to share anything else in closing, because first of all, thank you so much for being with us this week, brother.
It's my honor. Thank you, Donna. It's my honor because I get to talk about Shelter to Soldier, which is a charity that's so near and dear to my heart. And today we've got 4 rescue dogs running around our house. 2 are mine and 2 are my daughter's that she rescued. And dogs have a purpose in life.
Yes, they do.
They do. And to euthanize them by the thousands just eats me alive. And the soldiers who allow us to have the freedoms we have in this country and in other countries around the world, those soldiers as well, aren't taken care of the way they deserve to be when they come home. And to have that suicide rate is just unacceptable.
It is.
So I'm just honored to be able to do what I do, not have to work for a living. I've got complete financial choice, and I can donate all the money from my books, my programs, to Shelter to Soldier, and give stuff away too. If someone goes to the website, like I said, and they put wealthonanyincome.com/TEDx, they'll see how they were programmed to be poor. And I'll provide the cure, which is the 9-step roadmap to complete financial choice and a 27-page explanation.
Wow.
Nice.
There's a lot of people out there that would love that, and they need that. So do your friends and your family, people you care about, a favor. Go to wealthonanyincome.com/4 letters TEDx, TEDx. And you'll be able to get what Rennie just said right there. You'll be able to see it and get it and download it.
Yes.
And think about how you would feel if you helped someone else, get out of the rut of life and start building wealth in their life. Oh, man.
And how you'll feel in a year's time to see where you were at here and now you're up here.
Yeah.
Yep.
That you have a true roadmap and a true purpose to help you in your retirement create wealth.
Yeah. And when you see that 1 year behind you, go and say, hey, this is the right road for me. And there won't be no stopping you because you'll be enthused and motivated by your own success.
Yep.
And that is so critical.
And I forgot to tell Donna when she was asking what's in the book, there are instructions in the book on how to partner with someone else and hold each other accountable to produce the results. So you don't have to do this by yourself. And I got to tell you, my book is great, but I don't care how great a book is. There's no book that can do two important things. One, it can't interrupt your faulty thinking. That takes a human being. And the second thing the book can't do, it cannot hold you accountable to what you said you wanted to do. Again, it takes another human being. So that's why in my book, I say, work with another person.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our time is gone, and we want to thank you so much for tuning in this week for all 5 parts of Rennie's great program. Get out of debt and create wealth. And be sure to go to YouTube, Messages of Inspirational Stories TV show. And Rennie, thank you again. Don, it's always a pleasure being here with you. And we'll be back next week with homeschooling Howard Berg, the speed reader, because he's going to share with you, I should say, how you can get your kids to find reading fun.
Great.
That was something that we did not have where I went to school because nothing was fun there. But we want to leave on a positive note. We hope you have a wonderful weekend. Be good to yourself. And most importantly, love yourself so you can love others. Take care of yourself. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Be safe, folks.
Bye.